Hey friend, I'm back with another interview for you, and this time I am speaking with Samantha Mabe, the creative director and designer of Lemon and the Sea, and she helps service-based business owners feel more confident sharing their expertise and promoting their work through custom designed websites. She loves creating websites with beauty and brains that are designed to convert and give you the power to make edits yourself. And she currently lives in Richmond, Virginia with her husband and one talkative toddler. In this episode, Samantha is going to walk me through the biggest obstacles people face when trying to build their website and where they get hung up on website creation. She's also going to tell us why you only need 4 main pages to launch your website. Enough of trying to wait until you have that 47-page website filled with funnels and pop ups that just leave you confused and in a state of non action. She's also going to walk us through how she can create 4-page websites for her clients in just one day with her VIP day process. If you are in the market for a website designer or you think you'll be launching a new website in the new year, tune in to this interview with Samantha Mabe. Welcome to Coffee Powered Systems, equipping women with actionable steps to overcome overwhelm and streamline business and life. So grab your favorite drink and come hang out with me. I'm your host, Miranda Merton. Welcome back to Coffee Powered Systems. Today I am joined by Samantha Mabe of Lemon and the Sea. Samantha, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Miranda.
Great. Thank you for being here. Samantha, before we get started, I love the name of your business, Lemon in the Sea, and I would love to know what the inspiration was for that name. Where did it come from?
This is a question I get so often because it's unusual.
Yeah.
But back in 2015, I think it was, my husband had moved for a job and I was applying for stuff and I was like, I'm going to start a DIY blog and I can, make a little extra money and do all that. So I had been working on that with idea. And one night, I had been praying about it and God was really just like, this is the name. And I was like, okay. And obviously from there, I don't do DIY stuff. I cannot write recipes. I don't have the space to do projects. So things have shifted, but the name stuck and has moved with the business.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so stinking cute. I used to do food blogging back in the day. So I love all the little names when I see them, and I'm just like Lemon in the Sea. That is amazing. So you do website design, correct? So let us know a little bit about that and what you do with your clients and customers.
Sure. So, like I said, I started out with a blog idea. I shifted into branding and all kinds of graphic design. And then I got into website design because I felt like that's where my strength was. And that's where so many of my clients were struggling. They had DIY'd a blog or hired a cousin's friend to do something, and it really didn't reflect their brand. So now I help people with creating a website that reflects their brand, that gives them the confidence to raise their prices and really put their business out into the world. And I am currently shifting from a longer process into a 1-day VIP process so that we can launch a website in a day and really get people's work out into the world so that they feel like they have got the online home that backs up their expertise.
That is awesome. So, what do you find is the biggest obstacles then with people when they decide they need a website?
The biggest thing I see is just all of the stuff that they have to do ahead of time, getting all the content together and images that can be really intimidating. And so many of us are busy with client work. We want to do that side of the business. And so setting aside the time to write all the, 4 pages of a website is difficult. And we have a hard time talking about ourselves a lot of the time. So that's the biggest struggle that I see. And then people are just a little bit intimidated by websites themselves. They are afraid to hit that save button after they've made a change. They don't want to break something. And so part of what I do is help them to be prepared and have all the resources they need. But those are the things that people struggle with. And it's totally normal to be intimidated by those things and to feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, exactly. So you say people get intimidated from like, hitting save, moving
Hmm.
forward. Do you find a lot of perfection holding people back? Like it's not ready or anything like that?
I think there is definitely some of that, especially if you have tried to do things yourself. I think once we hand things over to an expert, we tend to trust them more.
Yeah.
But when people are doing it themselves, just like anything, we want it to be perfect. And our business is like our baby to us. And so we want everything that goes out to be perfect. And that means a lot of times we're not putting anything out. And I'm guilty of the same thing.
Yeah, me too. A lot of times it's just like, you know, I work with clients myself as well as have business on the other side. And I think a lot of creatives do that as well. We have a few things going on. And
Hmm.
I find a lot of times that I am working on my client side a little bit more. And then things like the website and things like that get pushed off a little bit as well, which can be, super hard to wrangle that in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's because as creatives, like we want to serve, we know that we're really good at what we do for our clients, and all the other stuff is like, I have to figure this out. And that kind of stuff in business is not what we got into it for. And so
Yeah.
that's not what we want to spend our time doing.
Hmm. Now, I would love to talk about how you launch a website or launch a business with just the main pages, what you think the main pages we need to get started are, and kind of your process on launching and just getting going.
Sure. So I really want people to know that they don't have to have a complicated website. They can launch with four main pages. What I walk people through is a home page that, really shares what you do, who you're for, that kind of stuff. An about page that gets into your journey and how you can help people, a services or sales page, depending on what it is that you offer, and then a contact page, which just gives people a way to get in touch with you if they're ready to work together. And that's all you really need to take people from landing on your website from Google or social media to actually taking action and hiring you or buying a course, whatever it is that that next step is.
That's perfect. So, you say those are the main four pages. So, where do you think people get hung up on then when it comes to oh my God, I need a website. What goes on the homepage? What goes on the about page? Like, what is it? Four pages sounds so simple, right?
Yeah, I think so much of the time we get stuck in the shoulds, like everybody else is doing it this way. All these big name people that I'm following have a website with their face all over it and a video introduction, and they've got 10 different services and all these courses and tons of pop-ups and funnels. And I think when we want to get into business, we've seen them do that. We see people teach that. And so that's what we're envisioning we have to have, instead of going, you know what, I've got like this one thing. I'm going to work on that first. I'm going to get it launched. And then I can grow and pivot and change as things develop. So I think that is really what holds people back, is we think we've got to be just like those people who have been in business for 10 years and make millions of dollars, when that's not really true. We can show up and serve our clients and keep things simple.
That's true. Do you think this simple website option would work for any industry, any business type, like service versus product?
It works really well for service providers, and some like course creators. So what I like to say is, if you have one service or course that you are sending people to, this will work because you can use all of those pages to really talk about who it is that your dream client is. You can get at their problem, their pain points, and focus in on how you can help them and the transformation that you bring.
Mhm.
If you are at a point in your business where you've got lots of different options, it might not work as well, just because you do have to direct people to the right place to go. And sometimes that means there are more pages and more explanation that's needed.
Yeah.
And then for product-based businesses, you've got all of the products that you need to sell. And so there's a lot more that goes into getting that up and running, and the inventory systems and all of that stuff that you need.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's where people might get stuck, right? So walk us through an example of what a strategic journey would look like if, because I think a lot of people just put websites up and it's kind of like, oh, I just need to have a homepage with my picture on it. They're not quite sure what they're selling. Maybe they put an opt-in box up there. What's kind of like a good strategic, how am I going to get my customer from point A to point B? Um, what is the goal of my website kind of thing?
Yeah. So I think you mentioned having a goal. So that's the first thing, is to figure out what you want people to do. For some of us, that's you want them to fill out an application to work with you or to just purchase your course. For some people, they really like to sell via email. And so the goal is to get people on their email list. So you have to figure out what it is that you want people to take action on first, and then set up your whole website so that they have enough information to take that action, whether that's knowing who you are and trusting that you can deliver what you say you do, or if that is knowing that you're actually they're the type of person that would benefit from working with you and learning from you. I think so many times we get to a website and we're like, but I'm not sure if, you know, this photographer works in my area, or, they actually work with my type of business. I have emailed coaches before and been like, have you ever worked with a website designer before? So I think we need to make it clear on our websites, I work with these people. If you're somebody else, I love you, I support your business, but I'm not the best fit for you. And then, here's how you can take action with me to get to that next step, the goal of your website.
Awesome. And I think you made a very good point there that we don't have to serve everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've seen it work where some people just do have like, oh, I serve all the people. But I have landed on pages where it's like, I serve so and so business providers for so and so things. And it makes it real clear that I am or I am not the person they're looking for. So I think that's a really great point that you made there.
Yeah. And I think that's so important for our business, is we can serve people better if we know who it is we're working for, because then we can set up a process and a system that gets them the results that they need, because we're not trying to figure it out for every type of different person that might come our way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it makes it a lot easier for us as the business owners as well, creating strategic plans.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And we actually met through a virtual Done in a Day conference. And I learned that you have a website design service, which I think is amazing. You can design a website in a day to get going. So I would love to hear more about that, because the fact that someone could do it, consult with you and walk away with a 4-page website ready to go in a day is amazing. So
Yeah, so I recently shifted over from, it was an 8-week process that I have condensed down into a day. So I'm really strategic about which
yeah.
pages we're doing, making sure I help people get me all the content that I need ahead of time. And then my day is just like, I drop my kiddo off and I am at my desk banging it out. So I do all of the front end work, kind of the prep, making sure all the files are there, all the questionnaires are answered. We go into a mock-up, so some people get a chance to give me feedback on the design before we get into a full development.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sit on the back end of a website. I work in Squarespace and I design, test, insert content, put up the images, all of that stuff. And then, help people get set up with all the tech, the newsletter, the Google Analytics, Search Console, all of the back-end stuff you need. And then really my goal is that they can take their website and make changes and edits themselves, whether it's them or their team. So I have tutorial videos and instructions and backups and all of that kind of stuff ready to go for them. And doing it in a day really works for me, because it eliminates a lot of the back and forth. I know that they are ready to answer questions if I have them, and I can just sit there and do the back end stuff so that they are ready to launch once it gets to the end of those 8 hours.
That's great. So do you have then I assume you'd have a big setup beforehand, like they have to fill out some sort of a questionnaire and all that stuff?
Yeah, so there is a questionnaire that just goes into what they're looking for in a website, what they need as far as like newsletter, calendar, application, sign up, all those details, and what the design, what they are kind of inspired by. And then if they want to DIY their copy, which a lot of people end up doing,
Yeah.
I have a whole workbook and set of questionnaires that helps them to do that with examples and kind of fill in the blank templates, so that if you're going that route, you can just kind of fill all that out and submit it. And then if you are working with a copywriter, you can just send me the copy that they've done. And having all of that at the front end before I get started, it means I don't have to come back to you and ask questions. Like, I can just copy and paste things into the site and work on the design, instead of, having to make sure that you have a headline and a
Mhm.
headshot and all of those little details.
That's amazing. So, what are your favorite tools right now for website creation? I think when you do your design in a day, are you using Squarespace?
I am using Squarespace, so that's where I design everything. I use Adobe XD for the mockup, so it's really easy for me to play around in there without having to like type in the code and all of that ahead of time. And then I use ClickUp to just keep things organized through the day of like, these are all the steps that I have to follow to make sure that I don't miss anything.
Awesome. And then do you have any other small tools or systems that you love to use just in business in general?
The big other thing that I use is Debsato, that does all of my contracts, invoices, workflow stuff, so that I can be as hands off as possible.
Mhm.
I have like 20 hours to work a week because I've got a toddler at home. So as much as I can take off my plate as possible is awesome for me.
And how old is your little boy?
He is 2.5.
Oh my God, it's such a good age. I love it.
Yes.
Mine's 14, so I am well out of those years, but I remember those times. So how do you manage your days with your little one and your husband? Like, do you have good boundaries going on?
Yeah. So before he was born, I was working like a normal 40-hour week when my husband was at work. And then after he was born, things kind of shifted. And then we were all in quarantine for however long. But now that we've kind of got a routine settled, he has childcare 4 mornings a week, and that's when I work. So I've really got like very specific hours for myself and my clients when they can get in touch with me. And outside of that, I've kind of set up my inbox so that I don't see those emails when I'm not working.
Hmm.
And that helps me to be focused on my family when I am with my family, and focused on work when I'm at work. So he knows that when he is with the babysitter, he does not come upstairs and bother mom. Like, he sees me at lunch and
Awesome.
that's it. So he's really learned that too, that like, okay, this is mom's work time. This is when she gets to hang out with me.
Yeah. And you have to set those boundaries or else your day
Yeah.
can go to crap real quick.
Yeah. When he was a baby, I didn't have childcare, and he was like crawling all over my office. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
like, I had Thomas, the Thomas and Friends on one screen while I'm working on the other. And it was just like, that's not going to work anymore.
That's awesome. All right. So, Samantha, can you tell us what you're working on now? I know you have a freebie on your website, how we can update 5 updates we can do to get a higher converting
Yep.
website.
Yeah, so that just really goes through 5 small updates to see more conversions on your website. You can get it at lemonandthesea.com/5 updates, and it's the number 5 and the word updates. And it's just a couple of quick things that I always recommend people do. Um, and other than that, right now, I'm just, working on client websites. I am preparing for the end of the year. making sure all of that stuff is ready because a lot of people they're ready for a new start in the new year. So I'm
Yeah,
already looking ahead to that in Q4, which is crazy that we're already here.
I know. And do you have spaces open for your website in a day spots?
Yep, I do have a couple of spots in November and December, and then for people who want to look into January, we can do that too. Usually, I do about 4 a month, so that really lets me focus on those things those days, and then get the other business stuff done during the other time.
Awesome. And then where can we connect with you? What's the best place to find you if we want to connect? Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, so I spend most of my connection time on Instagram. You'll see a lot of my toddler and also some behind the scenes stuff. So that's at Lemon and the Sea. And then I'm also on Facebook at Lemon and the Sea. That's really where I hang out.
Awesome. So I will drop all of those links down in the show notes for everyone. Samantha, can you tell us if there was one thing for people that wanted to, they want to get their website going, they've been putting it off, maybe they can't get to work with you yet. What is one thing they can do to get started this week?
I would say this week, just go through your website and make sure that everything works. All the links work, all the buttons work, the forms work. That can be something we overlook, or things break over time, and it really makes it hard for people to get in touch with us and makes it hard for them to trust us if your website isn't working. So just check that out, make sure everything works and looks um, at least professional, even if it's not as up to date as you would like it to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Samantha. Those were some wonderful tips. I love it. I'm going to definitely go through my website, make sure all those links are working. And like I said, I will drop everything down in the show notes. Make sure you connect with Samantha on Instagram and Facebook, and pick up the freebie that she's offering. And Samantha, thank you so much for joining me. And you guys have a great day. That's all we have, and I will see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Coffee Powered Systems. You can find links to everything mentioned in the episode down in the show notes or on the website at mirandamerton.com. If you enjoyed this episode, rate and review it in iTunes or where you enjoy listening so others can find it too. And join me here next time.